George, hey, congratulations on your film, Win a Trip to Browntown.
Thanks a lot. I appreciate it.
Hey, yeah, it's not a problem. I watched the film. I thought it was hilarious, and I have a confession to make. I did not read the synopsis before I watched your film, so.
Well, then let me ask you a question. I kind of appreciate that. Did the title tip you off what it might be about? Some people like get it from the title, some people don't. It's kind of a mix, which I like.
No, I watch a lot of movies, so I didn't really think about it. I thought it was a vacation spot, so and now thinking about it, I guess it isn't the title. so probably partially my fault on that one in all cases. But let's ask that obligatory question: is where did the original idea came from for your film?
It's a combination of a couple things. I always end up giving this disclaimer. The origin's kind of on the sadder side, but parts of it at least. So I started off. I went to grad school at USC a long time ago. Got my film degree. Like the character in the film, I had to make a choice eventually between chasing these dreams or, that family I always wanted, and chose the family, and I never regretted it, but there's always thoughts in your head when that happens. So I took all that, and over time, raising kids and everything, you gain weight, of course, getting older. And in 2016, my mother got cancer, and that's when I really packed on some pounds. And after she passed away, I needed to find a reason to laugh, and I needed to lose weight. And I had this funny idea. I was like, what could make somebody lose weight short of $1 million? And I had this thought, and I have a couple friends who I consider to be normal. And I asked them, so you think this is something that, I don't know, a husband might be able to relate to? And they all said, oh yeah. And boom, I found it was a viable premise and went with it.
The occasions of marriage is when they figure out that it only happens on anniversaries or birthdays or something like that, right?
Yeah. What is it? Everybody Loves Raymond. His character once said, he knows he gets it every time he has to pay his taxes, his quarterly taxes, and every time he renews his driver's license is something special. So
that is true. That is true. It is funny. It's because it's one of those topics. How can you say it's a taboo subject? No one wants to talk about it, and yet you were brave enough to touch the subject.
I'll take the word brave. Some people might say dumb, but brave enough. Yeah, no. One of the things I've said is, if you're going to make a movie outside of the studio system, I feel like you should make a movie that a studio wouldn't make, and I don't think any studio would touch this film. So I appreciate it, and it's funny because a lot of people have. They just told me they've had a lot of interesting conversations after watching the movie that they enjoyed having. So,
well, then here's an awkward thing. Then, tell me about your research project, researching on this subject, because it seems it went through a lot of extensive jokes. So either you researched it or you were really knowledgeable about
it. Well, people who know me, I kind of have that sense of humor. Funny thing is like my wife and kids, they appreciate my humor, but they're not that way. Just kind of like in the movie, actually. That's who they are. So when I was researching, like the first time I did a little research online, I quickly came to realize, oh yeah, Google caches all your searches. So I quickly learned to slip into incognito mode. But even worse was sometimes when I was kind of doing some of the research on Amazon to see, like, oh, what kind of products are there. And so my wife would get on Amazon to go buy something. This was before she knew what I was writing or why. She was like, why are these items coming up in our Amazon? I was like, I don't know. What have you been searching for? So it was all a process, a learning experience.
Wow, I'm so happy that your family were so open to you researching without anything. I mean, when you revealed it to them that you were doing a project like this, was there a strong reaction?
So they didn't know I was doing it until I handed them the script, and then once I handed them the script, with my kids especially, I had to say, okay, there are teeny parts that are true, but the big thing, no, don't worry about the big thing. Don't think about the big thing. And like I said, thanks to my humor, I always joke. Both my kids, their earliest words were, "That's inappropriate, Dad." Their mom taught them that. They just kind of know me and know my jokes, and we have a lot of fun family dinners. Let's put it that way.
So comedy comes very natural for you then.
It's a lot of work to make it feel natural. Yes.
So now, being an indie comedy, there are always certain challenges. When did the decision came to you that you wanted to, first of all, direct the movie, and then second of all, act in the movie?
Well, the plan was, so as I mentioned, I did the USC Film School thing. I wrote scripts, sent them out, and nothing was getting picked up. And I just really felt, after my mom's passing too, that I really wanted to do this. So I wrote something specifically in mind that I knew I could shoot. Initially, it was a lot smaller. Pitch Fest wasn't a part of it. I'd say about 90% of it took place in the house. The house you see in the movie is my actual home. So that's why it's very inexpensive. I joke that we filmed the shooting budget was about the price of a Kia car. So I tell my kids they didn't get a new car because we made a movie. But I was always planning in my mind to direct it. And I just know the way independent films work. And I knew I had enough energy to do it all, produce, direct, write. I wasn't, the character, as you can tell, large part based on me. I knew it was a possibility I could act in it. That wasn't the plan 100%. I did want to lose some weight myself. So I said, oh, that wouldn't hurt. We auditioned people, and maybe it's, like I said, my own bias of writing it with myself in mind, but we just didn't find anybody that felt right. My other casting associates agreed with me. So I stepped in. I'd studied acting for many years. And like I said, the other thing too was in finding an actor to play my role is they would have had to lose weight. I lost 50 pounds over 3 months while we were shooting. So it was kind of hard to convince anybody else to do that.
So you really did it, lose 50 pounds in 3 months. I didn't think that was even possible.
It's possible. It's just depends what you're willing to put yourself through. The first 15 pounds actually came off really quickly. I had to slow it down. What we did was, because pretty much a majority of the people working on the film were unpaid, we filmed on weekends because everybody worked during the week. And then that gave me the time to lose the weight. So we shot over weekends for 3 months. And by the end of it, I was pretty much starving myself, but I felt it was worth it. And it helped get me in the mindset. But that was a lot of work, like I said, writing, directing, producing, acting, starving, all those things.
I'm afraid to ask, but what was your reward in the end?
I would say my reward is just finishing the film. It's something I've wanted to do a long time. Finishing the film and doing it with my family was the big reward. Like I said, the kids had no idea what it took to make a film. I mean, they knew we lived in LA. I went to film school. I'd made short films, but they never really understood the scope. And now they do, and they appreciate it, and they don't want to become filmmakers, which I'm so happy about. And my wife too. I think because our life kind of got a little bit interrupted early on, and like I said, we took this side route. I think part of her always felt like too, she wanted to, I don't know, how do I put it, see me fulfill my potential, I guess. And she's loving it too, and an active part of it. And she proudly wears her t-shirt around, which makes me happy.
Proudly wear the t-shirt. So your wife and kids were in the movie? Could you?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, the two oldest kids in the movie, those are my children.
Okay.
And the personalities that I wrote are actually based on them. And it was one of the things was when I used to write all these scripts and they were growing up, they said, when you were going to write a movie for us, when you going to write a movie for us? Well, be careful what you wish for. I ended up writing this and they did it. My wife knew she was going to have to be my support, and she's not an actress. She's in the movie. She makes a couple appearances in there. But she knew we needed something more. And plus, she wasn't really comfortable doing all the things that character was required to do. So I was very fortunate in finding Kendra Mcdermott, an excellent actress who was willing to go along with this crazy premise. And then just because I always kind of wanted a third kid, I wrote myself a third child in the movie. So we got the little Gabriel Conrad, who did a great job.
Well, let's first talk about Kendra here, because she tries to carry a huge part of the film, and she's a natural comedian. Could you talk more about developing the chemistry and such with her character?
We had a lot of luck in our casting. I was able to find everybody I wanted. It's kind of funny because you always get these pictures of what the character looks like and does. And none of them were what I had pictured, but they were all better than I imagined. And in Kendra's case, she came in, and it was funny. It didn't click with me at first, but she was just such a natural. The energy I was looking for was somebody who could do those comedic moments, who, how do I put it? Somebody who wasn't 100% comfortable with the subject, because that's what the characters are, not comfortable with the subject. She's also the mother of two little kids. And so she understood what it meant to be a mother, and that nurturing side of her really comes through. And just somebody who's willing to, even if they're not comfortable with it, to throw caution to the wind and jump in. And that's exactly what she did. And like I said, I just feel very fortunate.
And I also think that you were very fortunate to find a very cute young boy with Gabriel there. So,
thanks. No, he's fantastic. I was, because people always warn me about kids being a challenge, but to be honest, never had to worry about him knowing his lines. He was prepared 1,000% every day. He came ready to play, so it was awesome.
It is awesome. I think when I was watching the film, because the subject matter was about peeing in your bed, and then you brought up the electric blanket. I mean, just last week I think I was talking to a relative about electric blankets, and she told me about this urban legend that a young kid got electrocuted from it. And then all of a sudden it was in your movie. I was like going, wait a minute, could it be? And then I had to Google if any kids ever got electrocuted. Apparently not. So,
well, it's funny. I've never actually heard that urban legend. I do remember reading though about a blanket that did exactly what I said. I can just totally imagine that kind of thing. So from the kids' perspective, which is kind of what we showed.
True, true. So everything was filmed in your house, but you had to pick out other locations, right? I want to say like the adult store and your computer lab was probably not in your house, right?
Correct. One of the things is when you're writing a script that you plan to make yourself, excuse me for 1 second.
Sure, go for it.
So when you're writing a script that you plan on making yourself, I use the Robert Rodriguez model. He wrote his book, Rebel Without a Crew, and he talked about how you write what props you have into your script. A friend of mine owns a restaurant, so I knew we could film there. There was an independently owned adult toy store in Ballard in our neighborhood. I knew we could probably film there. And then the work location was my actual work. I was actually a state employee working at the university in IT while I wrote it. It was kind of funny. Halfway through filming, I got let go due to making the movie. That's another story, but it was fine because as the character wrote, I wasn't really thrilled with that job. I'd been at it for 15 years and it was time for me to be moving on. But I just wrote in mind with all the locations I had available.
Wow.
Yeah.
Talk about keeping the subject close to you in every aspect.
Close to me and affordable. Those were the two things.
So what was the biggest challenge for you on the project?
Some of the exterior school scenes where we had 24 little kids running around, those were a bit of a challenge. My assistant director, I guess you could call him, and co-producer Andre Ton, he did a fantastic job helping me wrangle everybody. And same thing with the big Pitch Fest contest. That was tricky. We filmed it during the summer and we needed to make the auditorium look full, obviously. The auditorium seats, I think like 200 people or 250. And so I was hoping for at least 75 people. And on the day of filming, about 35 people showed up. And so it was just a matter of moving the camera, changing the angles, people continually shuffling seats and changing coats and shirts. But we made it work. So yeah, the big scenes were a challenge. And also getting in the right mental frame for the emotional parts too. Mm-hmm. While keeping in mind trying to direct and manage the schedule and starve myself. It was all a challenge, I guess.
Most excellent. And seems like this is a pretty good overall experience for you. You want to do something again? You want to make more films in the future? I mean, everyone sometimes get addicted to this kind of stuff.
I would like to make another film in the future. What I've said to people, because people ask me, it's like, yes, I'd like to make another film. I just don't want to wear all the hats again. I knew I had the energy to do it once, and I knew I was going to have to shoulder a lot of the weight of the film. But in my next film, I'd like to just be the writer director, or my goal isn't acting. I enjoyed acting. I wouldn't mind doing acting and not having to direct at the same time. I'd just like to do one job. Let's put it that way. So yes, I would like to do it again. I have written a script, similar genre. It's too expensive for me to make, but I'm hoping with this film and the script, maybe somebody will finance it and let us do it. So we'll see.
Most excellent. Well, you know what? You touched a a subject that no one else wanted to touch. So people are probably going to come across it. That's for sure.
Cross my fingers.
Most excellent, George. Hey, thank you very much for carrying this conversation with us about win a trip to Browntown. And good luck, and hopefully you get more, maybe a sequel. Who knows?
Lots of people have tossed me ideas for a sequel. Just a reminder, we're going to be released on March 22nd, most streaming platforms. Pre-orders are available on Apple. And for anybody who wants to see more and learn more about the film, we have our website, triptobrowntown.com. I really appreciate it, Gig. Thanks so much.
Hey, not a problem. Thank you. Hopefully
Right.
next time. Thank you.